So I've done a lot of videos on different e-ink tablets on this channel, and they're really interesting devices. But not all of you are big fans of the slow refresh rate that you have and the big delays between tapping. But a big plus is how they don't have any blue light, and that's a great thing for us who look at screens all day long. They don't really have those same eye strain qualities. And as someone who personally gets a lot of headaches from screens, that's a nice to have. Now, this is a tablet that is not e-ink, but also does not have any blue light. And it runs full Android 14 and is a really interesting product. Look at the refresh rate differences here. That is so much quicker than this. Everything feels a lot clunkier, and you have to be waiting for the e-ink screen to catch up to what you're doing, where this is running at a full 60 Hertz. It's not like 120 Hertz or ProMotion or anything like that, but it is a very standard refresh rate for a tablet like this. And as you might notice, it's also fully in color compared to this e-ink tablet and a lot of e-ink tablets that are black and white. There are some that have color, but they still have a lot of compromises even with color. Now, I would dare say that this white on the e-ink screen here looks better than the white on this screen. It is a little bit dimmer. And this is under my nice big light I have up here. And it's still not quite as bright of a display as a good e-ink screen. So there's pros and cons to both sides for sure. You can get a stylus with the Paper 7, as this one is called here, and do some of those note-taking functions with whatever Android app you like to do your note-taking on. So what are the downsides of this screen? I mean, we see it's, yeah, maybe not quite as vibrant as e-ink, but is that it? Is it pretty much perfect everywhere else? Well, not necessarily. The viewing angles are significantly worse. For example, like right now, you guys see a pretty good image on screen, but even for me, it's about half as bright from my perspective right here looking at. And you should see that from this camera angle, how much darker the screen looks. There's no light coming from the display itself. So this is what's called an RLCD display, or reflective liquid crystal display. And if you guys haven't heard of this technology before, I can relate to that because I just heard of this too. But basically what that means is there's just a reflective panel behind the LCD screen instead of a backlight. It reflects any other light coming at it. So in a dark room, you can't see the screen at all. In a really bright room, the screen looks great, and especially outdoors. I want to emphasize, if you like being outside with your tablets, this one looks great outside. I have no real complaints there. It's really, really usable. In fact, it quite encouraged me to go outside to film with this tablet because that's where it looks its best. Or under a big studio lighting like this, it looks pretty great too. So the other benefits is, like, you can literally go into YouTube and, I don't know, find like a really cool channel, like, I don't know, maybe Graf-X Tech. There's a good video right here that a lot of people have. And if you notice, yeah, it's got speakers too. Are they good? Not really, but it's got them. Basically, they're just on one side, so they're not stereo, which is the worst part. But as you can see, in direct lighting, not too shabby. You can totally see what's going on there. A little dark, yeah, but you can see what's going on. But as soon as you start going off angle, it becomes pretty much unreadable, unseeable, however you want to put that. That's the basics of this tablet. I mean, a really cool concept of it's not producing any of its own light, so it's not going to strain your eyes. And it can work well outdoors, all that kind of stuff. Running full Android, very unlimited, is all fantastic ideas here. So basically, There's like two approaches when it comes to like the e-ink tablets I've noticed. There are some companies that basically give you full access to Android in the Play Store and all that kind of stuff. And there's other companies that want to strip it down to basically be really distraction free. And I don't think that's what this one is. I think this has all the distractions you could have on any Android tablet. It has all the apps, it has YouTube, it has all the social media apps, everything like that. But it's basically just trying to be better on your eyes. And that's really the only thing it's doing here versus a standard Android tablet. But that also comes with a much bigger price tag, as this is not a standardized screen technology, so it's very unique. So you're paying for that uniqueness and you're paying for that eye comfort. And is it worth it? Well, this is my first impressions, so things might change if I continue to use this tablet more long term. But as of right now, I cannot honestly say that I would go out and buy this with my own money and use it in my day-to-day life. Do I think that no one should? Not necessarily. I do think there's a person for this tablet out there and that will see this video and be like, yes, this is the tablet for me. But I'm not that person. And I think most of you probably aren't that person either. I'm gonna be installing a lot more of my work apps on here, some of like things like Outlook and some of my different Microsoft apps that sync across my different devices and keep trying to integrate it into my workflow. The one thing that has really stopped me from feeling like I can truly recommend this though, is just when I'm walking around in my own house, which I feel is pretty well lit, I constantly am like shining it towards the light source to catch the light better and see what's on my own screen. And before you know it, you're squinting and straining your eyes trying to look at the screen. So now you're getting eye strain, not with blue lights, but you're still getting eye strain. And I don't know if that's actually any better. That's my first impressions on this device. A really, really cool concept, an incredible technology that I get to try out. It doesn't feel ready to me yet. I don't think I can confidently say that this is something that everyone should try and everyone should get. But there is other companies like Daylight, I don't know if you've heard of that one, but they made the DC1, which has a TLCD display or a trans-reflective liquid crystal display, which that has a backlight that you can turn off. Kind of like how this e-ink tablet has a front light that you can turn on and off. You can't really see it very well on the screen here, but having the option for lighting behind the screen is a great idea. And I think the combination of those two would be perfect here. So if this tablet could just, with a flick of a switch, turn on a backlight when you want it, and with another switch, turn it off when you're outside or in really bright environments, then this would be nearly perfect. And I would totally love to recommend this small Android tablet to all of you guys out there, especially for like an e-reader. Note-taking, maybe not. It uses the USI standard. So for those who don't know what that means, I'll give a quick comparison of how that functions versus something that using the Wacom standard like this tablet here. Here are both the apps in like their default note taking. This is just like the Google Notes app that came pre-installed in this device. And I'm just gonna do a couple diagonal angles here, or diagonal lines, not angles. So that's how they look with the USI standard. You may not be able to see it super clearly, but there are just some more waves in the line themselves. The USI standard versus Wacom. There's also just a little bit more delay. Hopefully you can see that there. I mean, the preciseness and the speed of the Wacom stylus is just incredible. And especially because the Paper 7 does refresh faster, you can notice how much worse the stylus technology is, even more so, because compared to the refresh rate, this stylus is crazy fast here. I mean, it is near instantaneous, where my eye cannot tell the difference, where my eye can see a delay with a lot of these stroke, especially when you start writing. And it just seemed like a little less accurate, like I'm having a harder time staying on the lines and stuff. But it also has some features that this one does not, which is a front-facing camera. It's not good, but it exists if you need to snap a photo quick or whatnot. Here, I'll share a photo with it right now in front of my studio lighting. This is probably about as good of lighting as it can possibly receive. I'll take a picture with the rear camera of this tablet right here. Let you guys see those. So it's got them, they're there, they're options, but they're just not great. I mean, it's just already pretty blurry and fuzzy. Yeah, so the rear one is mostly for scanning documents, kind of like this document scanning camera on the back here, but it also has a nice flash, which is really helpful for scanning documents, where I don't believe, yeah, this one does not have a flash at all. So another case of you gotta be in good lighting for pretty much anything this tablet does. So it's really cool. And you kind of geek out, at least I do, when I see it working and how it functions. But once you start trying to fit it into your day-to-day life, you realize how much you have to work around it to get it to look good. And I don't want to have to make my tech fit into my life. It should just fit in. That's convenient technology. This is not convenient technology, not yet at least. I think it's got so much potential, and I really hope that Harbor Innovations keeps going and that they keep working at this idea, because I love the idea, but the execution is not there yet. I will say though, build quality wise, this tablet feels really, really good. I love the like kind of leatherish texture on the back, the metal siding, the screen, all of it feels really, really nice. And the stylus feels totally fine. A little plasticky, but so does this one and most of the styluses that come with these e-ink tablets. So this feels very solid. Magnets are okay, but they also have this really nice book folio cover and the feeling of this is really, really soft and smooth. I love it so much. And then you can also pop out a pen loop for extra security of holding in this stylus, very much like the folio for the iFlyTech tablet as well. And if you haven't seen my video on this, you guys really should check that out. It's got really low views right now. So come on, give it some love. You need to see this tablet. It's a really neat small tablet. So that's my first impressions of the Harbor Innovations Paper 7. Still, I love using it and I keep trying to make it work, but it's just not something I can really highly recommend at this point. It's so neat and I hope it keeps getting better. If you have any questions about a tablet like this or the technology here that I didn't answer fully enough, please let me know down in the comments below and I'll try to include it in my full review of this tablet. And if you want to see a comparison between these two tablets even more in depth and the Supernote smaller tablet, I'm working on a thorough small tablet comparison video, finding out which one can be the best little notebook for you guys. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and definitely subscribe to the channel. We're crossing 5,000 subscribers. By the time you're seeing this, we should already be there, and we're working on a special to celebrate that, and that should be coming out within the next week at the latest. If you're curious about any of the equipment I use in my setup, that's all going to be linked in the description down below. And if you like the shirt I'm wearing and you want to support the channel, go to grafxtech.com and look at all the different merch options there. Also, if you have a Supernote Manta and you want to try my pen loop for it, that's also at grafxtech.com. And as always, have a great rest of your day.